Hi, I'm Joel Bloom, president of New Jersey Institute of Technology. At NJIT, we believe that not only our students, but all citizens need to be informed about the issues facing higher education. As New Jersey's Science and Technology University, NJIT is proud to support the important programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, making a difference, NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, the Northward Center, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, the New Jersey Education Association, Englewood Health, and by Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Promotional support provided by Commerce and Industry Association of New Jersey and by Jaffe Communications, supporting our state's innovators and changemakers with public relations, creative services, and more.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at it.
Life without dance is boring.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
I'm coming away from me. I hear the walls repeating, the falling of my feet, and it sounds like drumming. And I'm not alone. I hear the rocks and stones echoing my song. I'm coming.
Man, that guy can sing. I'm Steve Adubato. This guy cannot sing. That guy can sing. He is Reeve Carney.
Thanks, Steve.
Back by popular demand.
Thank you.
We had you over in Lincoln Center at the Tisch WNET studio. Now, this is the NJTV studio in Newark. Reeve Carney is, that is Hadestown?
Hadestown, yep.
And you play?
Orpheus.
Set this up. By the way, let folks know where it is. The Walter Kerr Theater over on West 48th Street.
Yep.
Set this up for us.
Okay. Well, it's based on the Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. I play Orpheus, and it's a retelling of the myth of those two characters, but incorporating something that has been involved in a lot of the versions of involving Orpheus' story of Persephone and Hades. So it's kind of two intertwining love stories is what they like us to say about the show. It's a tricky one to talk about because you don't want to say too much because our composer, Aeneas Mitchell, has written something so beautifully layered that it allows, in my opinion, the audience to really sort of project themselves onto the characters. And so it's tricky. You don't want to, I'm hesitant to give too many details about the show always because I don't want people walking into the theater having any specific idea about what they're about to experience.
It's so interesting. You have to tease this thing. You have to promote this thing.
Yeah.
You just like when you had what was that little thing you were in when you came to Spider-Man?
Right.
Oh yeah, you heard of Spider-Man, right? You didn't have to plug that too much. It's like, oh, it's Spider-Man.
Right.
This is different?
It is different. And I think, yeah, I mean, you don't have, and with Spider-Man, I mean, it's based on a storyline that everyone understands and everyone knows. The great thing about Hadestown and even the myth of Orpheus is that a lot of people actually haven't read it. And I think it's almost more interesting for some people if they come into the theater to see Hadestown for the first time having not read anything about the myth. And then maybe, because we've had a lot of repeat viewers. There have been people that have already seen it 20 times.
Really?
Which is amazing. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that they can bring whatever they're experiencing emotionally, even that day, to the theater, and hopefully we can help them, experience something that's, dare I say, a bit cathartic. I do think it is a cathartic experience for both the audience and the performers.
By the way, Best Musical, Tony Award?
We did 2019 win that, which Tony is Award. Awesome.
What was that like when that happened?
That was amazing. I got to stand on stage with everybody, which was so cool. Yeah, being up there and looking out at Radio City Music Hall. I mean, I performed earlier in the night with the cast on that stage, but getting to the last award of the night, it's pretty exciting.
Help us understand this, Reeve. So you're performing. Mm-hmm. You're all in. You're there with your castmates. You don't know you're going to win.
No.
Let people in on this. You don't know.
No, we don't. No.
So you perform not knowing.
Right. No, definitely. I mean, I don't think anyone knows. I can't imagine they do. I always wonder about that.
It's not like they get you to go, hey, listen.
No. Well, because every musical that was nominated for Best Musical performed that night.
Okay.
So you're all performing, but
that'll tell you I didn't watch the Tonys.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, you're busy. Don't worry.
That's all right.
But I did know that if it started with "huh," then I could run up because I knew that it was the only one that started with "huh."
That's the way you analyze this?
So then, yeah. So then I was like,
promote and plug your colleagues.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
In Hadestown?
Yes.
Okay, well, I work with Eva Noblezada, who plays Eurydice in the show, and that's a tough one in terms of characters. If you don't have someone to work with that's as brilliant as Eva, it would be a lot less enjoyable of a job because we have the opportunity to fall in love every night on stage, which is not easy if you're working with someone you're not comfortable with. We have Eva, we have Patrick Page, who I've worked with before on Spider-Man, played the Green Goblin, and he plays Hades in Hadestown. Andre DeShields, who you may know from The Wiz, from Ain't Misbehaving. His list of shows is incredibly long and illustrious. And also Amber Gray as Persephone. And then we have a beautiful ensemble, and it's.
Let me ask you this. Is it 8 shows a week?
It is 8 shows a week.
Break that down again. I know only because we've had so many wonderful performers from Broadway, and our great producer, Georgette, is wired in that community and helps us in that regard. Break down the 8 shows. How many on Saturday?
Well, it depends. We're on what I've heard referred to as the princess schedule, which I personally love.
The what?
The princess schedule.
Which is?
Which is one show Tuesday, double show Wednesday.
Okay. Matinee and
right,
night.
Matinee evening. And then evening show Thursday, evening show Friday, matinee evening on Saturday, and matinee only on Sunday. So you almost have 48 hours off on our current schedule.
That's the princess.
Which is but some people have the most messed up one, I think, is when you have Wednesdays off. Because then you start on Thursday, Friday, double Saturday, double Sunday, Monday. Not good.
All right, hold on one second. You got to confirm whether this is truth or fake news. You ready?
Okay.
You got this schedule.
Right.
You got this going on.
Right.
You got some music coming out?
I do.
You got an album? Come on, stop.
Well, I put out an album called Youth is Wasted, which I made in my apartment while I was working on Spider-Man and Penny Dreadful.
Right. By the way, Penny Dreadful over on Showtime.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And you play Dorian Gray.
Yep.
Good stuff. Go ahead.
Dorian Gray. Yeah. Very different from Orpheus. I do love that. I love the chance to be able to play as many different characters as you can, and jumping from, I don't like the idea, I don't think any actor likes the idea of being pigeonholed, so having the chance to play someone like Orpheus, who is, I describe Orpheus as, well, what I should say is that this is the first version of Orpheus in which he has had these character traits. In the former versions that I was a part of in Canada and in London at the National Theatre, he was kind of a confident, macho, traditional male macho energy guy, and now he's, I like to describe him as someone who is sort of guileless, and that, I think, lends itself to presenting the story in a way in which, I don't know, I think people can hear it more when you have that role played with those qualities.
And hold on, Georgette, what'd you say? You got a film, a biopic?
Oh, we talked about this last time, which you may not remember because you have so many interviews, but I watched it.
I'm gonna stop you right now.
Yeah.
Why you say this?
Yeah.
I'm looking at your hair, which is the greatest haircut. No, I'm being serious.
Thank you.
Could it work?
Kevin Garcia. Yeah. Yeah.
It would not. Patty, what are you laughing about? It would never. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you
could. I do love.
All right, I get Jeff. I got it, Georgette. I know it wouldn't work. Okay.
I'm not even sure it works on me. No, I'm
yes,
kidding.
it does.
Nice.
Works great on you.
Thank you.
Do the Jeff Buckley thing.
Oh, well, so yeah, I got cast in a film about Jeff Buckley, the musician's life, in 2011. So I actually was interviewed by you after I was cast in that, and we talked about this briefly, but it hasn't been made yet. They're planning on making it this year. So
2 seconds left. Go ahead.
I hope that it will be made this year.
All right. Is it not a fact that you said that you've done hundreds of interviews?
Probably.
And this is by far
the best.
And that I was the best interviewer?
Yeah.
I just made that whole thing up. Listen.
It's awesome.
You are a terrific guest.
Thanks,
You're a
Steve.
wonderful actor. You got incredible pipes, as I said, and we wish you and your colleagues at Hadestown Walter Kerr Theater, 219 West 48th Street, beautiful New York City. Reeve, thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve.
Well done.
Thank you.
We'll be right back right after this.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
We are joined by Clarelle DeGraffe, who is General Manager of PATH, otherwise known, well, it's Port Authority Trans-Hudson, right?
Correct.
Everyone knows the PATH.
Everyone knows and loves PATH.
Yeah, tell folks why, run by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, tell why PATH is so important.
PATH is important because it's a critical link to the Trans-Hudson network that includes our tunnels, bridges. PATH serves approximately 280,000 passengers on weekdays. That's how many people we move. We're the second densest transit facility, second only to New York City Transit. So we move a lot of people. People depend on us to traverse the Hudson River, and it's a short boutique ride, you know, across that river to get them to work, to get them to their loved ones, to get them to where they need to be.
I took the PATH every day from Newark, New Jersey, where I was born and raised, over to the World Trade Center, where I worked for the Port Authority back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And it's a 20-minute ride. Yep. And some others went uptown, and reliable and solid. Mm-hmm. But here's my question. Mm-hmm. With the ridership expanding so rapidly, from 100,000 when it started to where you are now, almost 300,000.
Right.
How much harder is it to stay on time, keep things moving? Go ahead.
Steve, you're hitting the nail on the head. You're on point. It's not easy. It's hard. You're talking about a facility that's actually 111 years old. Even though PATH was created in 1962, the facilities actually have been in existence since 1908. So you're talking about a 111-year-old system that we are utilizing that's been upgraded and maintained to be able to move close to 300,000 people a day on a weekday. So it's not easy, but we've got a great team and dedicated and committed people, professionals, that really put everything they can into making sure that that system works every day and making it reliable.
You know, the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey is a supporter of what we do, and we've had many conversations with them offline, but obviously very important online right here on the air, about infrastructure issues. Mm-hmm. How honest a conversation are we having, Clarelle, about how aging, how old our infrastructure is, what it costs to keep our infrastructure where and what it needs to be in order for us to have safe and reliable transportation? Is that a real conversation?
It is a real conversation.
No, are we having it to the degree we need to, is my point.
I believe we are. Our executive director and chairman, that's why we implemented the PATH Improvement Plan. This past June, PATH embarked on a very aggressive plan in order to address capacity issues as well as infrastructure issues, reducing delays.
How are you doing that? I'm sorry for interrupting. Be specific. Are you adding new cars?
Well, part of it is adding new cars. All right. Part of the plan is the additional, the procurement of additional 72 cars to our existing 350-car fleet that will help us partner together with the new signal system that is being implemented as we speak now, which will allow us to run more cars, closer headways. So instead of waiting the trains will run faster. Okay. So instead of waiting for a train every 3 minutes, I could wait maybe 2.5 minutes. Right now, most of our customers are waiting 4 minutes on any given peak period, 4 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes. So with the additional trains coupled together with the new signal system, which is part of the new infrastructure that we've installed, it allows us to increase our capacity. We're also making huge investment on upgrading our infrastructure, such as the signal system, making huge investment on maintaining our tunnels, maintaining our track beds.
Gateway matter here? Help folks connect the dots here. I'm going to talk about New Jersey Transit in a second and its potential implications for PATH. Gateway matter to PATH?
It's not so much that Gateway matters to PATH. I believe PATH is the interim answer for Gateway.
Not long term, though, because the capacity is getting greater and greater.
Our capacity, we have, of course, physical restrictions. We have 4 tunnels. We have limited resources. So right now, PATH is seen as that buffer to be able to handle that additional capacity. But we can only go but so far without additional tunnels.
So I'm curious about this.
So it's on the interim.
Sorry for interrupting, Clarelle. We will, by the way, have folks from New Jersey Transit on to talk about the situation there. The Governor Murphy, has talked about it. Senate President Steve Sweeney has talked about it. And virtually everyone argues that it's not an opinion. It's not where it needs to be. So the question is this. You don't run New Jersey Transit. But if New Jersey Transit's having real problems, to what degree, Clarelle, does that have an impact on PATH? Because people see that as a potential alternative. Am I conflating things?
Absolutely. Remember a little while ago I talked about the Trans-Hudson Network.
Right.
New Jersey Transit is part of that Trans-Hudson Network. And we rely on each other because sometimes PATH doesn't work either. So we utilize, our customers will what we do is we ask New Jersey Transit what we call cross-honor or accept our passengers for the same fare.
Because, excuse me, when you're on that platform in Newark, as many of us have been, and you're trying to get to Midtown or wherever, you got an option.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. So that's why it's important that we understand as railroads, we don't operate in a silo. We can't. We serve the region together with New Jersey Transit, with MTA. We're beginning
Metropolitan Transit Authority in New York City.
Correct. We're beginning to see ourselves and talk more as a unit, as a Trans-Hudson network that relies on each other. We learn from each other. We have a round table where we come together once every quarter and just talk about best industry practice.
Let me do this. Can we show some video post-Sandy? Talk about the impact on PATH of Sandy.
It was huge.
Oh, my gosh. I thought I remembered.
It was huge. We were literally underwater. Several of our stations, as you can see, were literally underwater. And salt water, not just regular water, but salt water, which is corrosive and had significant impact on our critical infrastructure, had significant impact on our rails, on our substations, and we were down literally for about 3 months before we could come back to full service and be able to move people. And so we were crawling. After about a month, we started crawling, had limited service, and really did not get back. Superstorm Sandy occurred the end of October. We were not back into full service until the end of January.
So other than the challenges of getting back on track, if you will, if something horrific were to happen again like this, or even close, how prepared?
We're prepared. One of the things that happened after Sandy is we partnered with the FTA. A lot of the infrastructure that was rebuilt under Sandy was funded by the FTA.
The FTA is a Federal Transit Authority agency.
Administration.
Okay. I'm sorry with the acronyms.
That's okay.
It's hard to keep up.
It's hard. We live in acronyms.
A few seconds left. Go ahead. You partnered with them?
Partnered with them. They subsidize us 90% of our restoration, but there were requirements. There were that we had to meet, one of which is we had to build better, build in a way that we call to be resilient, to be prepared for a future Sandy, or worse. So there were certain engineering requirements. For instance, a lot of our critical infrastructure is at a higher elevation. Our elevators have aquarium glass. Our exterior elevators, like the Hoboken elevator that was inundated with water, now has aquarium glass. So just making it that much more resilient with that. So we are prepared.
Clarelle, I want to thank you very much. PATH matters to an awful lot of people, just about 300,000 a day.
Yep, and we care.
Absolutely. Again, I want to disclose the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey that administers PATH is a supporter of what we do. I'm Steve Adubato. We'll be right back right after this.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Welcome, folks, to MetLife Stadium. This is the Celebrating Life and Liberty event here at MetLife. And we're going to be talking to all sorts of folks who are part of this event. 11 years they've been doing it. There'll be about 6,000 people here in just a few minutes, believe it or not. There's a sound check going on with the band. And Bob Garrett, who is the CEO of Hackensack Meridian Health, will not be singing with them. Neither will I.
Really? I thought I was.
No, they don't want us, Bob.
It's not my song anyway.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Talk to us about this event and why it's so important.
Well, Steve, first of all, great to be with you again here at MetLife Stadium. This is the 11th year of the Cancer Survivors Symposium and the Cancer Survivors event. It's called Life and Liberty for a good reason. It's about celebrating life. It's about being free of cancer. I go to a lot of events during the course of the year, but I have to tell you, this is the most special event that I go to because it's inspirational. It really is. When you see patients, cancer survivors, with their families, with their friends, and then their caregivers really celebrating what they've been through, where they're going in the future, it's just unbelievably inspirational. And you know, if you don't get emotional at something like this, what do you get emotional at? And the great thing is, over the 11 years, we're seeing more and more cancer survivors here, which means more and more of them are surviving cancer. The treatments have gotten more sophisticated. We're seeing better outcomes. And to see these people celebrate as they're going to be in just about an hour from now is going to be truly special.
What's interesting, Bob, is beyond the clinical part, the medicine, right? The human part of this, the families, what families need, what those who are dealing with cancer need from a human point of view. Talk about that.
It is so important. You know, the clinicians will tell you that the treatment is certainly a very, very big, important event in terms of their journey through cancer and surviving it. But the camaraderie, the support that that cancer patients get from their families and friends is so important. And you know, they talk about a positive attitude in healthcare, and that, you know, gives you a better chance to survive. It's truly, and you'll talk to any of the clinicians, they will tell you that is absolutely true. So the support that these patients get from their loved ones is almost as important as the treatment. Maybe in some ways it's more important, because if they don't have the right attitude, if they don't feel supported, maybe they won't go to treatment, maybe they won't take their meds, and they'll just kind of put up their hands and give up, and we never want that. And so what we try to do at the John Theurer Cancer Center is really encourage that type of support system. And here tonight is a celebration of how that support system really worked, and it's a great opportunity to celebrate the survival of an incredibly difficult disease.
We are, in fact, talking to Dr. Thomas Bauer, who is Clinical Medical Director, Oncology, Hackensack Meridian Health. We're here, Doctor, at the Celebrating Life and Liberty event at MetLife Stadium. It's a big event because?
It's a celebration of life. It's we all go through different challenges, and those challenges present an opportunity to accomplish something. And for all of these patients that are here, it's their battle with cancer. It's a tribute to them. It's a celebration of life. It's an acknowledgement of everything that they, as well as their families, have been through. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of the healthcare team that takes care of them. As a thoracic surgeon, I see the insides of people, and I see the outside of them, and I see their families and everything that they go through. And to be part of that, in a way, this is everyone standing at the finish line as someone finishes a marathon, or having done 2 Ironman triathlons myself. To cross that finish line is an acknowledgement and that you've conquered all the pain that you've endured during that race. And so it's a fun celebration for these patients and for the caregivers that have helped them along that journey.
I know this is personal for you as well. You talked about your dad, a surgeon?
Yeah, my dad's a surgeon, so I grew up from age 6 making rounds with him in the hospital. And what inspired me the most was to be in the mall and someone come up to my dad and thank him and give him a hug, and then look at me and say, "Do you know what your father did?" And that really inspired myself to go into surgery, my brother to go into surgery, and my sister to actually go into pediatrics. And so I saw the impact that he had in people, and wanted to try to the best of my ability to do the same. And so it's, and for my dad, you know, he had a melanoma, fought through that and won. My mom had ovarian cancer, fought through that and won. So the idea that it's not just a disease, but it's a patient that is getting treated with a family, I think really helps us as caregivers at Hackensack Meridian Health to be empathetic towards our patients, to know what they're going through and to treat them and the entirety of them, not just provide excellent cancer care for them.
Final question. Again, sound checks going on around us, getting ready for this big event. There's going to be a lot of people on this field here at MetLife Stadium for the Celebrating Life and Liberty event. Finally, how hopeful are you about the new treatments for cancer patients?
The new treatments we have, every week there's something new that comes out. All of the robotic therapies that we use to treat our patients with surgery less invasively never existed 10 years ago and are 10 times better than they were 5 years ago. So the things that we're going to have surgically, the way we're changing our radiation, changes every month. And every week we have new therapies that we can offer our patients. And so what was standard 5 years ago is no longer, and what we will be doing next month doesn't exist today. So it's a great time to be in medicine and cancer care especially.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bauer.
Thank you, Steve.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, NJIT, the Northward Center, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, the New Jersey Education Association, Englewood Health, and by Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Promotional support provided by Commerce and Industry Association of New Jersey and by Jaffe Communications. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
I think at NJIT there are a lot of smart students.
I came to NJIT for mechanical engineering because within state it's one of probably the top 3 schools for engineering.
It sort of creates a friendly competition where you can learn from them.
It's a great academic school.
I feel I'm being challenged, but at the same time I love the classes I'm taking.
The atmosphere of being here is like being at an upstart company. It's that same kind of drive, that same kind of passion.